insane. This really is. And that's by Comic-Con standards. Hey, how you doing? Okay, I'm Jim Butcher. This is going to take all night if we keep going like this. I'm Jim Butcher. This is my editor, Ann Sowers, who's the editor of both the series I write right now. And normally a lot of times I show up to some place and they say, "Hey Jim, we want you to read something for the audience," and that always mystifies me because I like to assume that most of my fans can read and really don't need me to do that for them. So I tell you what I want to do instead is we'll just try and go with questions, and this is a really big room, so bear with me, but let's just do question and answers because that's more fun and because I'm not prepared for anything else. But I usually get along okay with questions and answers if we want to do that. So if you want to ask me stuff and stuff. Yeah, right. Oh, there's like a microphone. Okay, so you can come up to the microphone and ask questions. Oh, wow, that's way more organized than I usually do. Hi.
Hi, I'm gonna have to go get back in line because I have like 3 questions. But the first one I wanted to ask, most people here are probably huge Dresden Files fans, and I am too, absolutely. So I'm gonna open the door and ask you a question about the Codex Alaria, because that I think is the first time in a long time that I have read a magic system that felt new, it felt fresh, and I could really wrap my mind around it. I want to know if there's any inspirations both for what the civilization has and what the Marat have too.
I'm gonna crush your regard for me right here.
Oh.
The Codex Alera book, it actually came, I wrote that book on, the first book of that series, I wrote it on a bet. No, I mean like literally. I was an aspiring writer, which is to say I had some things written that weren't very good. But I was on a lot of like writing lists and so on online, and I engaged in a lot of discussions, and I was quite the internet loudmouth. I am still the internet loudmouth. I just happen to have some publishing credits now. But back then there was a discussion going on, and there was this big argument going on in this writing group about the sanctity of the idea as kind of like this holy thing in writing, that if you got a great enough idea, no matter how terribly you write it, it's still going to be a really good book and be really successful. Look at Jurassic Park. Okay, that was not my example, okay? That was somebody else's example, because I was on the other side of the argument, which was even if you've got an idea that has been done a lot and is like a tired old cliche, you can still take it and put your spin on it and create a new and vibrant and good story out of it if you present it right. So my argument was for the presentation of the writer. The other side was for the holiness of the idea. And this discussion went on and on. It was one of those discussions where you hit the reply key, you hit the reply button, and then you just hit the caps lock key and start typing. You know, one of those discussions. And finally this guy comes up to me, the guy who was the loudmouth on the other side says, "Put your money where your mouth is. I want you to tell, I want to give you a terrible story idea. Let me see you write it into a good book." And being the young and arrogant loudmouth that I was, I said, "No, you give me 2 terrible ideas and I'll use them both." So the guy says, "All right, here's the first terrible idea that I'm sick of. I'm sick of Lost Roman Legion. There's so many Lost Roman Legion books, they're terrible. All the Lost Roman Legion should have been found by now. Lost Roman Legion, that's the first terrible idea." I'm like, okay, Lost Roman Legion, got it. Hit me with idea number 2. And he says, "Pokemon." So what I did was I said, okay, and I took those ideas and I went and looked at them. Now, Lost Roman Legion generally refers to the 9th Hibernia Legion, which was a legion that disappeared while marching in the Alps in friendly territory during a thunderstorm. Now, I think odds are excellent that either the territory was less friendly or the thunderstorm was quite a bit worse than anybody thought it was. But let's say, okay, they went somewhere and they're going to go off Lost Roman Legion. I went and looked at who was in this Roman Legion. You know, it's about half Roman citizens and Romans and Italians, and about half German mercenaries. So I said, okay, I'm going to take them in this world. They're going to be able to form their own society, and that was how learned society formed. Was you've got these huge Romantic-type cities, but they're surrounded in the countryside by these German-style freeholds. That's kind of where that came from. Kind of where the basis of this society came from. And I said, okay, but where are they going to go? Land of Pokemon. Right, got it. That'll be my magic system. And I looked at Pokemon. Now, Pokemon itself is a combination of two ideas. It's a literalization of the Shinto religion that holds a belief in the spirits of the divine in all aspects of nature, the kami that are in everything. So in a giant mountain, there's a giant divine spirit, and you'd better respect it. And in a little tiny pebble, there's a little tiny divine spirit, and you probably ought to respect it, but if you don't, what's it going to do? And okay, so it's that literalization, and that's what Pokemon is the literalization of Shinto meets professional wrestling. So I said, okay, let me do that literalization of Shinto, and that's where I'm going to draw my magic system from, is from that exact same source. Let's take these spirits and we'll that are in the various aspects of nature, and we'll say, okay, those are these things that people can interact with, and that's where the magic comes from. And I said, okay, now I just got to have a good name for them, because I can't call them elementals, and I can't call them Pokemon, because somebody did that. So I said, okay, what am I going to call these guys? And in the background, while I'm writing or coming up with ideas, I usually have a movie that I like and know really, really well on in the background instead of background music. And the movie that was on in the background was Big Trouble in Little China. And yes. And it just got to the part where Egg Chen and the old sorcerers are sitting around talking, and Egg Chen looks looks up at Jack Burton and says, "All tension in the universe is caused by movement between positive and negative furies." And I went, "Ooh, furies! It's even Greco-Roman." And so that's where it came from.
I think you won the bet. That definitely came out well.
I went back to the guy and I said, you know what, I've got something really good going here, and but you know what, I'm not going to save it because I think I can sell it and publish it one day. So I don't want to publish it on the web now. And the guy goes, so what you're saying is, I won. And I'm like, yeah, you won. And I finished book 5 last week, so.